What's up, everybody? I'm Joe. Are you ready to rock out with your blockchain, that is. We're going to do some blockchain, some DAG. We're going to talk about it as fast as we can. We're going to keep it under we're shooting for like 15 minutes, right? For a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to look at, a ton of different consensus algorithms real quick, different kinds of blockchain, different kind of DAGs. It's probably like a 2-day video's worth of information that I tried to throw in under 20 minutes, and I think I came in at like 15 or 16. So anyway, so you want a crypto? Like, subscribe, comment, and let me know what you think, man. I really condensed a lot of stuff into a little bit of information, so if I missed some important stuff, feel free to comment that below. And then if you have any favorite projects, also comment those below. And then remember, we're giving out some Lokes sunglasses to comments and NFTs on Wax. So comment Wax and then write your favorite pack, and maybe you'll get one. All right, then. Cheers. Here we go. However, before we start, we should have a very important public service announcement. Not sure if you know this. I don't do financial advice. Not a financial advisor. That's why I do this. Because I research all the time instead of financially advising people. So, keep that in mind. Do your own research. And as always, man, the best of luck with your investments. Try to stay ahead of that crypto curve. Without any ado, time to rock out with your blockout. Blockchain. Who's got a blockchain? Like cars on a train. So are the blocks of the blockchain. Blockchain, it's kind of a buzzword. It's like the whole digital assets, cryptocurrency, crypto asset. All of that is based on blockchain technology, right? So what are we talking about when we talk about a blockchain? Well, usually it's what we commonly think of as like distributed ledger technology, DLT. So where we just have a transaction, a mutable ledger of transactions back and forth, but it's different information can go on a blockchain. It doesn't just have to be financial, DeFi, anything like that. Blockchain is used in a decentralized way so that no single person or group has control. And that's in Bitcoin's case, right? Okay, so let's scroll down just a little bit on here. So we talked about decentralization just means that it's spread out enough to where not one person has control. Some projects have more centralization than others. Some are more decentralized, Transparency is the same way. Privacy coins have less transparency for their transactions on their blockchain ledgers, while Bitcoin has a completely open transparency. You can see all of the transactions. Is it secure? Different chains are more secure than other ones. It depends on what they're doing, how they're doing it, and we'll talk about some different forms here in a second. All these links are below. I don't want to read this whole article, but I think you should if you haven't or, are curious and have questions about this. So what is blockchain? Why is it cool? Bitcoin is basically a disruptive fintech, financial technology, and it's changing the way we bank, for starters. It's changing the way we value things. We're changing the way that we see value in things, and we're also changing what we put in. Like now Bitcoin is becoming a store of value, kind of like gold. Not sure it'll ever be just like your pennies, nickels, and dimes, your euro, your loonie, or wherever you're from, your digital or your tangible currency. I don't think that that's really where Bitcoin's going to go. I think that there's other projects, but you can see everybody's got a blockchain. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's always open. Banks are closed. They got holidays, stuff like that. The goal is to get lower transaction fees, cut out a lot of the middleman, like the automated clearing houses and stuff like that. And then here, you got card payments, checks, ACH. You can do all of this through DeFi. Currency. So the different markets that are adopting blockchain is obviously, as a form of currency, as a form of asset, healthcare, records, property, real estate, construction, digital identity. There are so many applications right now. There's blockchains that are developing their own ecosystem and trying to draw people into that ecosystem so that they can move seamlessly about. There's ones that are kind of just their own. It's a very large topic, right? And I'm trying to cycle all this down into less than 10 minutes. Pros, improved accuracy by removing human involvement in verification. Cons, there's cost, right? So you can go through these pros and cons. But basically, blockchain, I think, is going to be the disruptive fintech that pushes banks aside, brings banking to the unbanked. Look at Cardano's ambitions in Africa. Africa is a very unbanked continent, right? There's a lot of nations in Africa with very volatile currencies that suffer from inflation, suffer from corruption, suffer from this, that, and the other. So a somewhat stable, I mean, I understand that our crypto assets are pretty volatile, but something along those lines, it's in high need in those countries. I spent a lot of time in Africa, Nigeria, Angola, Cameroon, a lot of places throughout Africa, Somalia, Egypt, Ethiopia, Djibouti, Morocco, man. So I've seen some of the things that they go through, and you know, I think that this will improve the world greatly. So basically, here's what you get. And there's a little bit of discrepancy on this, and I'm going to try and round out some of those edges. But there's basically 4 types of blockchain. We have a public blockchain, we have a private blockchain. So a public blockchain, just like it says, anyone, anywhere, anybody can use it. Private blockchain, that's private, that's a gated community, right? You got to have the code to get in, and that's how that is. So now we get into the federated blockchain, which also, you have the consortium blockchain, and then you have the hybrid. Okay, so a federated blockchain, multiple organizations influence the blockchain. It's the same thing as a consortium. It's just a different kind of name, right? Same name, same concept, or different names, same concept. Decentralized, extremely fast, scalable systems, network regulations, preserve the security and privacy. And then you have hybrids, which, you know, it's kind of like it says, it's a little bit of a combination of different things. Here's types of blockchains again: private, public, hybrid. They call it consortium, they call it federated. And then over here, I think that I have one that's like basically it's all the same thing. Again, okay, here we go. So here's public, non-public, right? Public, anybody can participate. Private, you know, gated community. No cryptocurrency required in a private blockchain. Requires cryptocurrency. That's what this is saying. Low decentralization, high decentralization. Low throughput, high energy consumption, low energy consumption. Yeah, sure. I'm not sure I agree with 100% of that. But public blockchains, so you got like your Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Monero, IOTA. And so in IOTA, that's a DAG, that's a decentralized, directed acyclic graph, which I'll talk about in just a second. But here's consortium blockchain or federation blockchain. Hyperledger is an example of a consortium blockchain. In contrast to the public blockchain, only pre-selected participants are accepted. Therefore, this type of blockchain is not open to everyone, but semi-private. So you have public, private, and then semi-private, right? Okay, and then you get different consensus algorithms or consensus models, and you've heard of probably a few, you know, the proof of work, proof of stake. We have a lot more than that. So let's just take a quick look real quick. I'm gonna put all these links below so you can check this out on your own too. We have proof of weight, similar to proof of stake, but the difference is that it depends on various other factors called weights. We have proof of work, that's your Bitcoin. When a user initiates a transaction, miners or supercomputers try to solve an algorithm, mathematical problem, or puzzle to verify it. We have the proof of stake. A user is encouraged to spend more until he or she becomes a validator to create a block. Delegated proof of stake is the same as a proof of stake, but users with more coins will get a higher vote and elect witnesses, right? Get to vote, right? They get more authority. We have a leased proof of stake, LPOS. Users will be able to make customized tokens and use it on their farms for better security. Proof of elapsed time, similar to proof of work, but the difference is that it focuses more on consumption. And then we have the practical Byzantine fault tolerance, PBFT. Byzantine used a particular sequence to keep the rogue users at bay. Arr. Simplified Byzantine, so we're just going to call this BFT from now on. A single validator can bundle proposed transactions and create a new block. Delegated BFT focuses on a gamified way of a block verification among the professional node controllers. DAG, directed acyclic graph. DAGs don't have blockchain data structure. They're similar to a blockchain structure where it's, you know, acyclic, where it goes in one direction. It never loops back on itself. However, dramatic pause, it does it differently with different verifications, and different parts jump in at different areas, and it looks more like a web or I'll show you in a second. So let's continue on. We have proof of activity POA uses both proof of stake and proof of work to ensure reward points are on time. POI, proof of importance, uses the frequency send and receive transactions will get paid for that. Proof of capacity. Using this protocol, you can utilize the capacity of storage space of the user's hard drive. Proof of burn. Users send the coins back into their wallets that they can't recover from. Will get rewards based on the amount. And there we go. So that's a quick consensus algorithm wheel right there. Blockchain versus DAG. Ready? So DAG, directed acyclic graph, is another form of decentralized ledger technology, and it's kind of a rival with blockchain, even though it's very similar, right? Both blockchains and DAGs record transactions on a distributed ledger, but they do so differently. Blockchain. So the blockchain distributed ledger forms a linear chain, right? Line of blocks or transactions in an unalterable, immutable, chronological order. DAGs, on the other hand, is a network of individual transactions linked to multiple other transactions. And there's usually two verifications to verify the current transaction and so on. No blocks of transactions in DAG networks. So you don't have to fill up a block and move it to a block and fill up a block and then add it to the chain and fill up a block and add it to the chain. It doesn't work that way. It's if a blockchain is a linked list, a DAG is a tree. Okay, so if it's like if a blockchain's like cars on a train, this would be like the branches of a tree for a DAG. Hopefully that kind of helps you out a bit. All right. So validating transactions block by block. That is your consensus on a proof of work blockchain. So a DAG, individual transactions provide validation for one another. Network users are both the miners and the validators. Basically there are no miners in a DAG. Everyone works in the validation process. Which makes them well suited for high volume of transactions, including micro and nano transactions. So the way that I view this, and you can comment below if you have a differing opinion, DAGs I think are more suited for like your IoT, a whole bunch of stuff making a bunch of small transactions trying to work together. Bitcoin would be like, I want to buy a house and I want to use this large amount or I want to buy some large, where the fees are a little bit less, right? Or less relevant, like you're not worried about it. Where security, so DAGs, you have a little less security. So that's fine for like a 2-cent transaction. But if you have a $2 million transaction, you want security and you're going to pay just a little bit more for that security, right? That's the difference in my... So blockchain transactions, volumes grow, storage and network bandwidth requirements increase. So now when you get to a DAG, a reduction in volume of transactions may make it vulnerable to attacks. To mitigate against this, risk DAG projects have so far included centralized features. So they have a little bit of a central, like co-coordinators, pre-selected validators, witnesses nodes, or completely private network systems. So, and that's like the Ubix network is a completely, you can do public and private and everything on it, but it's its own network. DAG will overcome blockchain problems. DAG versus blockchain. I don't think that it's a zero-sum game. I don't think you either have a blockchain or a DAG. You have different utility for different, you make something for the utility, the function, what the consumer wants. Directed acyclic graph. It's a graph data structure that uses topological ordering. The sequence can only go from earlier to later. Same like right here on a blockchain, from earlier to later, right? So that's a similar. The DAG is often applied to problems related to data processing, scheduling, and mathematical computations, stuff like that. A DAG works in depth. This means that every node consists of multiple layers of transactions. When a transaction is registered in the node, it first has to verify 2 other transactions before this transaction will be verified, right? So that's kind of how they keep it together. The miners are eliminated, so then the fees are either non-existent or very, very low. Some examples, again, we got some IOTA, Byteball, which is now Obyte. DAG versus blockchain technologies for different use cases, and that's what we're talking about. It's not a zero-sum game. DAGs have a purpose and a utility and a function. Blockchain has a utility and a purpose and a function. And, you don't have to have a winner, man. We can all get along. Right here. So, DAGs, microtransactions on blockchain networks, that's not economically feasible because the transaction costs are too high. And that's what they're talking about for a blockchain, right? You just can't have all these, like Ethereum fees, even though it's going to proof of stake and everything and it's supposed to get the fees are going to be lower and stuff. It's going to be hard for them to have high volume microtransactions. The bottom line is DAGs will enable fast and scalable minimum transaction fee chains, but whether DAGs or blockchain is superior technology depends on the application. There is no winner take all. Now, there are some other things that we should talk about. So we have blockchains, we have Hashgraphs, we have DAGs, and we have Holochain. And here is, again, the link is below. If you find value in this content, please like, subscribe, comment. You know, I throw a little bit of this, a little bit of that out there, but really it's all to try and help, you know, educate, promote crypto assets, and just, you know, I believe in the community, I believe in the projects, and I believe in what I invest in, and I like to share that with you. Sometimes it may not always be the best coins I'm throwing at you, but I try. That's what I got. So here, blockchain, we talked pretty in depth, I guess, or, you know, roughly you got an idea of a blockchain, and we got an idea of a DAG. So Hashgraph. Nodes create consensus through virtual voting. Unique consensus mechanisms reduce computational burden, hence high scalability and high TPS. TPS is transactions per second. So DAGs, high scalability, high transactions. And then Holochain, limitless scalability and transactions per second. And then highly limited in the terms of their scalability and transactions per second. So not as scalable, but more secure, very scalable, really scalable, and holy cow, we can just go as far as we want. Different data structures, different ways of validation. So the oldest, of course, is the blockchain 2008. Hashgraph, we're looking 2018. NXT was the first platform utilizing DAG, and it came out in 2015. Alpha 1 project released May 26, 2018. That's the Holochain projects, right? Holochain network is the best known network on this platform. NXT Tangible, Byteball, which is the 0 byte now, I think, are all the most popular networks using DAG Foundation. There's more too. There's Constellation is a DAG, Hedera, Hashgraph, I guess, is Swirlds, Noe are some of the networks on the Hashgraph, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and blockchains, right? There's also Blockless DAG IoT network. So when you start getting into the IoT, that's the Internet of Things. You're going to also have the IOV, that's the Internet of Vehicles. And all of these are going to require a mad amount of microtransactions. And that's kind of where we're getting into when we talk about the DAG, the blockless DAG. Here's the IoT of blockchains. And I don't really want to get too deep into this one, but I want to give you the link if you're really interested in like IoT. So here is, see, this is a DAG. This is a little bit more complex diagram of a DAG. And then here we go. This is the blockchain. Sequential, see the arrow goes, this one filled, this one filled, this one filled. You know, it was sequential, right? Linear sequential. And if you want to look, when we talked right here, here's NXT for the DAG, the very first one. This is NXT right here. It's at like 4 1/3 cent. $42 million market cap, $3 million trading volume. It's kind of on some smaller exchanges and stuff. I'm not really promoting the coin. I'm just showing you that this was the first one, and it's still around. Here is my last little bit of information, and then you are now thoroughly indoctrinated with a very minimal introduction into blockchain DAGs and, you know, some associated whatevers. Hyperledger, all right, smart contract application, and then, you know, here's the languages, Golang, Java, consensus, PBFT. You remember what PBFT was? No. PBFT, right? Practical Byzantine fault tolerance, PBFT. Byzantine used under a particular sequence to keep the rogue users at bay. I don't know why I want to say that, but every time you say rogue at bay, sounds like a pirate should be there, right? Like Pirate Steve. I'll be Pirate Joe today. But here's different ones, right? So we have the PBFT. We got proof of work. BFT. Remember BFT? Byzantine fault tolerance. That's right. You got that one. Cookie for you. We have scalables. We have stellar consensus protocol. You get the idea, right? So each one has its own little different thing. And in order to understand what you're getting into as you invest, you should maybe look at what's its consensus. Is it a DAG? Is it a blockchain? Why is that important? What is its function? What is it trying to serve? That's all I got. Not trying to like hold you up. Get back to what you're doing. Play your video games. Go see the sun. hang out on the beach, have a cookie, have a Coke. We'll see you soon. Cheers, comment, like, subscribe.